Welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, and transformational coaches being the change they seek in the world. If you'd like to be featured on our podcast to share what you're contributing to making the world a better place for us all, please go to www.jointheuworldorder.com. Be sure to like and follow our podcast for the latest episodes. If you've been struggling with mindset and personal development issues and not getting the results you want, you're going to want to pay close attention to today's episode as we visit with Ramona Galey. Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, and joining me today is Ramona Galey, who is an award-winning author, vibrational mentor, and founder of the Alignment Circle, a transformative trance coaching program that helps experts, coaches, and leaders overcome self-doubt, stress, and imposter syndrome. She's inspired by insights from divine intelligence, Oprah, and we will talk about that later because it's not the Oprah you think it is. Ramona developed the Clarity Activation Framework with the tagline, "Think Less, Thrive More." Her unique method empowers clients to shift from overthinking to heartfelt action, building resilience and reconnecting with their inner truth. Ramona's work provides practical, twice weekly guidance for those seeking real results and a fulfilling life of presence and purpose. So welcome to the show, Ramona. It's so great to have you here with us.
Thank you, Jill. I am so glad to be here. I'm really looking forward to our little chat.
Me too. I always love chatting with you. Okay, so tell us about Oprah, and then we'll dive right into your story.
Okay, well, so many people think that I'm talking about Oprah Winfrey, and I'm not. That Oprah is the name of my inner being, divine intelligence, source, God, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it Mother Earth, divine intelligence, whatever. And so that is when I go into a meditative state and my clients ask me questions, then I answer from a completely different part of myself or all that is. It's up to you to decide which it is. But that, whatever that is, I call Oprah, not with the H on the end, just OPRA, Oprah. So that's Oprah.
And I know you have a little story about how that came to be. You want to share that?
I have a long story. I have lots of stories. I can tell. Let me tell you the short version of the long version.
Okay.
Which is that 10 years ago, my life partner, my beloved Betty, she passed away. We'd been together 24 years, and she passed away in my arms. And I had no intention of staying on this planet without her. I thought she was my only source of unconditional love. I had no spiritual paradigm. So I was actually composing my suicide note in my head. I hadn't actually started writing it down yet. And the phone rang, and it was her good friend, Lordella. And Lordella shared with me, the short version is Lordella saved my life and taught me another way, a spiritual way that, and I had been seeking spirituality for quite some years and just really striking out. I had tried to become a Christian. I'd gone to synagogue. I'd gone to friends meetings. I had tried a lot of things, but this really stuck. And it was Abraham Hicks' Law of Attraction. And I started just absorbing all that information like I was working on a graduate degree. It was like 8 hours a day. I would just eat, sleep, and breathe that message. And over the next 5 years, I really started to live that message and to start to really understand it. I eventually started to teach it. They say if you want to know anything really well, just go ahead and teach it. So that helped a lot. And I had good friends that I found, and I went through that whole industry, I guess you'd call it, group that follows Abraham Hicks. I went to a lot of their workshops, probably 40 workshops, lots of cruises and stuff. And by about 5 years went by, and I had never even considered doing what Esther Hicks does to receive Abraham. But one day I was out walking with my friend Shannon, and it just, again, the short version is I came to understand that I was meant to do this work. And so I started doing it. And I didn't start it with any kind of a goal in mind, really. I just started doing it because I felt called to. And I started doing it for friends for free at first, and it just snowballed from there. There's from that point on, probably not very many single days went by that I haven't received Oprah for someone. And I decided to turn it into a business, and I've been working with people ever since. One of the main reasons I do it is because when 5 years earlier, when I was first discovering this material and starting to apply it, I mean, I learned very quickly and I saw immediate results. And then and then I started to hit this like brick wall, like this glass ceiling, like, wow, everything's so much better. I feel so much better. I can really see, this distant dream of mine that I had never even dared to dream, to feel good all the time and to be abundant and to be loved and loving and connected with people and happy. And I couldn't figure out how to get there. And there was nobody to work with privately. Esther Hicks just does large groups, and you go to the workshop, you pay all the money to get there and to stay there and to eat the food, and you go into the workshop and you raise your hand over and over and over again. I got in once out of 40 workshops, up to the hot seat as they call it, to ask a question. But it was a question that changed my life. It was the question that I was meant to ask. And so when I decided to start doing this work, I really wanted to provide at first just private sessions for anybody who really wanted that kind of intense work. And I've worked with a lot of really wonderful clients and gotten just really amazing results. Then last year I started adding in the small groups. Small group is excellent too, much better than I thought it was going to be. It's very powerful. So the alignment circle is a small group, never more than 12 people in a meeting. So everyone gets a chance to ask a question with whatever's deeply in their heart. And we see just tremendous results of people having lots of big breakthroughs. First of all, just feeling better. And then second of all, starting to really see the outcomes that they want in their lives.
How long is this like an ongoing group session? Is it like a membership sort of
They come
arrangement?
in for 3 or 4 months, depending on which month they've joined. I've gone back and forth on the 3 or 4 months. Some people
Mhm.
only need three, some people need four to really get good momentum going. Then people stay in for as long as they want. It's optional to add a month-to-month membership after that first initial time
Mhm.
period. And people stay on average, I would say probably about 8 months. Some people stay a lot longer, and some people go another couple of months, and then they say, okay, I've got this, and they're off and running. So it really just kind of depends on where you're coming from and what your goals are. Because if you have really big, deep, audacious goals, and you're dealing with a lot of limiting beliefs from your childhood, it might take you a little bit longer. But everybody gets there. I mean, it's really amazing.
It is amazing. I was thinking about some work that I've had done and where I've had people tell me things, and then um when I look back on it, it's like, oh, wow, that was huge. And I'm
Yes,
wondering if that's kind of the experience that you had with Abraham Hicks when you said you asked the question you were meant to ask, because we
yes.
always do. Even if we don't know what that question is, somehow it finds its way out to where,
Absolutely. That you're perfectly describing my hot seat session. I went up there thinking I was looking for Betty because this was only about 8 months after she had passed away. I was very early in this overall 10-year process. And I thought I was looking for Betty. So my first couple of questions were like, how many inner beings? I can't remember now it was a convoluted question. I was way out of alignment. I just kind of forced my way up there. And then it was almost like an afterthought. And I said, by the way, I've been listening to you for a long time now, and you keep saying that we have to follow our guidance, and our guidance is in our feelings. But feelings can be emotions or they can be sensations in the body. And I'm still not really clear as to which do you mean. Like, can I just be like happy from the head up? You're like, oh, but I don't feel it in my body? Or can I be sad, just but not really experience it in my body? And it was one of the few times I've ever heard them actually say the word no. They were like, no, it's always in your body. If you're not feeling it in your body, then you're not really in touch with your guidance. And that was a mind blow for me because I was a sexual abuse survivor as a child. I'd spent my entire life living from here up. Like I was just so out of touch with my body other than breathing because I was a professional trumpet player. That was my first career. So I spent a lot of time learning how to breathe the most efficiently I could because I was up against and in collaboration with men who had much larger lung capacity. So breathing became this like big thing. I would fly to Chicago, or drive in those days, drive to Chicago and take a lesson with a tuba player there, and just learn about breathing. But that was the only real connection I had with my body. And now, of course, I teach breathing as it helps people to get right back into the here and now, into the present moment, get out of the worry of the past, the worry of the future, the regret, the sadness, the loss, the anxiety, the overwhelm, all of that stuff. None of that is right here, right now. Right here, right now is where all of our power is. It's where all of the love is. It's where all of the beauty is. And breathing will bring you right back to the here and now over and over and over again. Because guess what? We're all breathing all day long. We know how to do it. And I can help,
Know how to do it,
help you
but
do
we
it better.
do it on autopilot so often.
Yeah. Yeah. Becoming aware of it is really important. And really, it's just all about momentum. It's not hard. Anybody could go to a workshop and have this like breakthrough. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, now I understand. But if you go home and start watching the news every day again, or just, go back to your old patterns. We all have patterns. We're such habitual beings. It's one of the ways that we accomplish such genius is we're able to screen out things that don't matter, right? So like that thing over there, I don't see it anymore. I could put up a post-it note on a mirror and I'll see it the first 2 days. After that, I don't see it again because my brain is so good at screening things out. So now we have to screen them back in again. It takes just a little bit of training, a little bit of practice, and then boom, you can be off and running with all of this stuff. It's so easy.
What do you think about affirmations? You're talking about putting stuff on your bathroom mirror, and we all do it, but
Yeah.
you're right.
Affirmations can be really, really powerful. I used an affirmation long before before all of this happened. I was in my
Mhm.
20s and I was studying very intently on the trumpet, and I had a teacher, and he gave me an affirmation. Every time I play, I listen for my gem of a sound because I wanted a different sound than the one I had. And a sound, whatever sound you're making on a musical instrument, kind of is like your personal identity. It's a
Mhm.
core issue, right? It's like your gender or your race, or it's like really like this is who I am. But I wanted to change my sound. So he gave me that. And I know one of the reasons it was so valuable and so impactful is because it wasn't saying anything that any part of my brain would argue with. If I stand around and say, I am wealthy, my brain's going to go, no, you're not. I am healthy. No, you're not. I am proud. No, you're not. Like you have to be really careful when you create the affirmation to begin with. And the other reason I know that it was so impactful is because it involved movement. Because I would say, I had the little thing that I would draw on a piece of paper that I would watch because I would do this 60 times a day. And so I had to keep track of where I was, kind of like a rosary bead. So I would say every time I play, I listen to my gem of a sound, and then I would play this little do 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 do. That was one. Then I would do it again. Every time I play, I listen for my gem of a sound. Do 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 do. So because I was adding in the physical motion, I was bringing it into my body without even knowing it, bringing it into my body, and my sound changed within weeks. I went from where I was to where I really wanted to be. It was a dramatic shift. It was like apples and oranges, night and day shift in my sound, which continues to this day. I don't even play music anymore, but if somebody handed me a trumpet and a mouthpiece and I started to play on it, I would have a dark, rich, sensual, soft, covered sound that I wanted, as opposed to the very brilliant, um, rather nasal, very piercing sound that I had, the angry sound. Trumpet was a source of anger outlet for me when I was a little kid. It was the only way I could express anger in my house. So trumpet was and then it went from there to ah. So yeah, affirmations, but you have to plan them correctly.
What an amazing story, Ramona. I'm
I've
just
never
like,
told that story.
I am. I've known you for a while now, and this is an incredible insight into creating affirmations and your whole tagline, think less, thrive more. I can see the thread there. It's so profound.
Oh, thank you.
Moving from your head into your body, because
Yeah.
all of that was about your body. It's and
Yes.
breathing, and it's not about thinking about anything. You give in your head, this is your
Yes.
job. I'm giving you a
Yes.
job. It's like little kids, my grandson, we want him to do something we know he's going to have a problem with. I give him a job first.
You give them a distraction, right? But we
Yes,
don't want
yes.
to be distracted from our lives. We want to live fully in our lives. We don't want to get to our deathbed at the end of our lives and say, oh, I wish I had just relaxed and smelled the roses, or I wish I had loved more. I wish I had tried new kinds of food. I wish I had traveled more. Like all these things that we know that we want, but we keep pushing them off because we're in our heads. We're not actually in our lives. That's where everything is, right here, right now, in your body, in your heart, in your breath, in the now, right now. Everything we want is right there. As soon as we're off somewhere else, no bueno, as they say.
Yeah, it's the whole planning and trying to force things. That's all in your head.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not.
Absolutely. Smart goals, discipline. I practice something I call blisscipline, which
Oh,
is
I love
the
that.
the commitment to focus only on that which feels good. Blisscipline. And you have to give yourself permission to experience blisscipline. It's the most amazing thing. I watch people struggle with this permission. I can't do that. I can't trust myself because I might turn into an alcoholic or a druggie or something. Or I can't trust myself in that way. I can't do that elaborate thing that you're talking about, that benefit. I can't have that because I'm raising 3 kids, or because I'm taking care of my parents, or because I work 80 hours a week. So that permission thing, that's the big part of it. But as soon as you get permission, a little bit of training and a lot of practice to counteract your old momentum, depending on how old you are, frankly, how much practice you've got doing discipline, because I work with overachievers, right? They're people who have had big desires their whole lives. They're not, the person who's really happy, who's never cracked open a self-help book. I work with people who really want, who really desire, who are really asking, who want to make a big impact on the world. They have something to say, they want something to express, and they're stymied by something. And getting into the here and the now, that's it. Right here, right now, unconditional love, breathing, not thinking, not setting smart goals, not faking it till you make it, not paying your dues, not the no pain, no gain, none of that stuff. Blisscipline is the way to go.
And I think we're going to end it right there. This is just like, if you take nothing else from this conversation today, live your life with discipline. I give yourself permission for that. How
Yeah.
could people get in touch with you, Ramona? That was just like my mind has been blown.
Well, I love that. Thank you. And I want to say one more thing to your audience.
Mhm.
Start now. Start right this second. You don't have to wait for any specialized training. If you want specialized training, come to me. You can, to answer your question, ramonagaley.com. That's my website. You can find my social media. There's not, it's Facebook and Instagram, not big, huge social media, YouTube, but you'll find all that on the website, ramonagaley.com. And you can apply for application, make application to be in the alignment circle if you want. Very intense VIP program. We meet twice a week. Unconditional love twice a week. Bathe you in it. Come on down.
Love it. Love it. And you do offer a free gift to people to
Yes, I
stop
have a free.
struggling.
Yes, they'll find that on the very top of my homepage. You'll see that a way for you to sign up to get that ebook, and that is a very valuable and very helpful place for you to start. If you're a beginner to, I'd say, an intermediate, that'd be a really great place to start. And there are other resources on the website too. Oh, there's a special gift just for your audience. When they scroll down to the bottom of my homepage, there's a little button there. It says private. It's like a little button that says, don't push this button. It says private. Push the button, click it, be a daredevil. You'll get access to not only a $250 off coupon that you can use for anything, that I've got going on, but also there's private podcast sessions there, about 20 or 30 private podcast sessions there so far already. I record them on a regular basis, not published anywhere, like as a podcast, but there are all these sessions where people come in and just ask me questions about authenticity or self-sabotage or procrastination, all these different things. And so we just sit and chat. We've had some wonderful conversations. I'd love for your audience to come and join me there. private. Come on in.
It's a secret group.
Yeah, tell them Joe sent you.
Yeah, yeah. The name of the guide is Stop Struggling, Start Thriving: How to Silence Self-Doubt and Embrace Your True Calling. Thank you, Ramona, so much for joining me today. This has
Thank,
been blissful.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I've really enjoyed our
Thank you for
chat. Thank
joining
you.
us for the U World Order Showcase podcast. Remember, if you would like to be featured on this podcast as a life, health, or transformational coach, please visit www.jointheuworldorder.com. We look forward to talking to you next time as we present another life, health, or transformational coach, being the change they seek.